Let's go ahead and talk about some of the light decisions I made since the last lesson. So what I want to show you is some of the stuff that I added and changed in the lights so that you can go ahead and have the same results. So if we look at my key light here, all I did in this particular instance was turn the intensity all the way up because I want the gum and everything in the scene to really pop more. So I turned the intensity 100% up. And in an interesting twist of events, I dialed the fill light down a whole bunch, 10%. I thought it was taking up too much of the shadow. Now, if you look over here, if I put the fill back to where it was, it's still too washed out. So I kept pushing it until I can get it to a point where it was still giving me the shadows I wanted, but really emphasized the curves and the forms that was blown out earlier. The rim light, I also took all the way to 100%. Really want to push the gum box really out of the background. With the kickers, both of them, once again, all the way up to 100%. And this is just something that will happen when you create lights, no matter what you're doing. You will find that the lights simply aren't going to work for you, so you just keep experimenting and exploring until you get the results you're looking for. And last but not least, what I did was added a physical sky. Now, just in case you didn't find or watch the lessons on physical sky, you'll find it right under here, physical sky. All right, so just click on this guy right here and choose physical sky. And I'm going to explain to you the settings that I put on this guy. So let's go ahead now and talk about the settings that I changed the most, which was the sun. All right, so let's go ahead and just move this up a little higher. Now, what I did here is I changed the intensity to 26%, and I increased the color saturation correction to 131. What that really did was oversaturate everything so the blue would really come through, because once again, it's a cartoony thing where I'm going for. To get this blue in here, I simply went to the hue correction and simply used this dial to find a nice blue that I wanted. And you can use this to change the time of day, or the time of year, or even the environment. So if you're going to the moon, for example, you might want to go for, a more desaturated color. If you're going under the water, you might want to go for a very saturated color and that kind of thing. My gamma correction is 2.2. Let me go ahead and put my my hue back to the blue that I had it on, which is about 43. And that was pretty much all I changed, just the sun. I was going to play around with the time and location, but I decided not to do that after some experimentation. Like I chose some things in Alaska, and I just really wasn't able to get the time and day that I really wanted. So I just made it up myself, primarily based on the hue itself. All right, so that is the level of tweaking I did to get the render that we have here. So I'll do a render real fast so we can see what we have. And because I resized the position of the box here, it moved over a little tiny bit. So let me go ahead and just reload this scene real fast. And I can show you what the render actually looks like. There we go. And as you see, we have a very bright, colorful, and saturated scene that will lend itself quite well to the design document that was given to us. All right, guys, so that concludes the lighting portion of this project. Next up, we're going to head to creating textures. And I'm going to show you the steps that I took to create the textures. Believe it or not, I used Adobe Illustrator instead of Photoshop because I wanted a more vector feeling. So I'm going to talk about the steps I took. I'm going to provide that texture for you guys, and then we'll talk about how to get the textures onto the box and also how to texture the mountain itself and the ice.